Hello, it's Classy here, back with another Tribes video, and today I'm going to be showcasing you our Mitsuki. Although this was from the last banner, a lot of people either skipped or didn't really like Mitsuki as a unit, so today I'm going to take a deep dive into what he brings to the game, and hopefully we can find where he has potential. And if you wanted to know about my thoughts on the current banner, I have a video, also a collaboration with Painblade. And in a one-word summary, I'd say it's skippable unless you like Kisame, and you can just buy Killer Bee from the shop and you should be all good. So here we go. Shout out to Dark Crow from server 16 for providing the clips. And starting off with the 5-star art, this is some really nice art in my opinion. It reminds me of Revenge Sasuke's art, where he had the eyes of Orochimaru in the background of his character, and Mitsuki has his Sage Mode eyes in the background. So it's kind of like him being underestimated up front and then hiding a secret power inside of him. And maybe that's what's going to happen for him as a unit. Maybe people are underestimating what he brings to the game. And here's the animated version. So we have around 58k power, level 80, and maxed out stats and gear. His link bonus is Orochimaru and Soigetsu, because in Boruto he was made in that laboratory that both of them are in. Boruto, Sarada, obviously they're teammates and friends. And then Naruto and Sasuke, because Naruto and Sasuke are like the leaders of the Hidden Leaf. So we got the first skill, Path Lit by the Full Moon. This is the Jutsu. Oh, yeah, this is the Jutsu. He's going to boost his own critical rate by 44%, first of all, like before even doing any damage. So that's actually pretty insane. That's a really high number. And he obviously does power creep damage with a 35% chance to stun, which is also a really high percentage, I think. So this is a single target stun and also a single target nuke. Then he lowers all enemies DIR by 11%, and he lowers all enemies critical rate by 33%. So I'm going to be honest with you, this ninjutsu actually looks very strong. The numbers here are really high. It has stun and a pretty high percentage. And the fact that he boosts his own critical rate before attacking allows him to nuke even harder. And obviously, he's a T unit, so if this was an A unit, he would be amazing. And sadly, he gets nerfed by his type. That's just how it is. But from just looking at the jutsu alone, this is actually a really good jutsu. He affects all enemies too, so that's up to 9 units on the up to 9 units on the opposing team. And yeah, pretty good. Good debuffs. Alright, for skill 2, he does regular damage. For skill 2s, he lowers the target's damage increase rate by 10%. Alright, so this one is not as good. It's decent for a skill 2, pretty high numbers compared to some other skill 2s. But it only affects a single target, and it basically just lowers their damage increase rate. So it's pretty random who this hits. Like, there are obviously some good targets that you would want to hit with this, but in PvP modes, you're not going to be able to control who he's targeting. So this is a hit or miss skill. It's not too good. Skill 4 lowers all active enemies damage increase rate by 14% if he's active at the start of the turn. And this is where things start falling off. This is just kind of underwhelming, in my opinion, for a skill 4. It only affects 3 enemies, and it lowers their damage increase rate by 14%. Like, if you think about it, the jutsu lowers damage increase rate by like around 10-ish%, and his skill 2 lowers damage increase rate for one enemy by like 10-ish%, and then he's lowering all active enemies damage increase rate by around 10-ish%. And these debuffs are not going to stack in game, so they kind of just override each other. And I guess at the end of the day, let's say he swaps into the rotation, he'll lower DRR by 14% here. I think that's higher than his jutsu slash skill 2. So when he jutsus or skill 2s, he basically doesn't do an extra debuff. Like if he's skilled 2 after rotating in, then he wouldn't really do any extra debuff. So he basically does nothing besides attacking. If he jutsus, he still does, the good damage, the stun, and the critical rate debuff, but he's missing out on the other part. And this is what I feel makes Mitsuki not as good of a unit as he could have been. First thing is obviously he should have been an A unit, but if they just changed the debuffs for his different skills a little bit, he could have been much better, just because of how debuffs work in this game. And let's see, so the vitality is initial chakra 5k, so that's a pretty good vitality, even better on an A unit, but I'm still pretty pleased with this vitality for him as a nuker and a stunner. So it's always better when these types of stunning characters go jutsu earlier, so they have a better chance to actually land the stuns before they either get stunned themselves or picked off, etc. Alright, so I'm here with the arena battle, and we have Mitsuki in the spirit cell. I would have preferred him going last in general, just because of his stunning, and his debuffs don't affect the enemy's defensive stats, so he doesn't necessarily have to go first. And he doesn't buff his allies, only himself, so. This is a good fight to showcase because the opponent has some faster cells. But here comes the confused combo. Look at all those debuffs. And then now they're going to mess with the enemy's rotation. Alright, so Mitsuki's 4th skill is going to trigger. And this is the one where he debuffs the active enemies and reduces their damage increase rate, and I hope we can see that. Just gonna try to see if I can show you guys in game. Yep, right here, damage increase rate down. That's coming from Mitsuki. The R version of Mitsuki also debuffed some sort of defensive stat. I wish they had that also instead of so many of the same debuff added to the UR version. And he should nuke pretty hard. He doesn't show like the critical rate up text in game before he uses the jutsu. And by the way, the jutsu animation looks really nice. I will say that. That's nice. 207k. No crit, no nothing on same type, so really solid nuke. Oh yeah, and the animation's so sick. And he does critical rate down, damage increase rate down. And while the battle is still going, Mitsuki's Limit Break 2 increases damage increase rate and damage reduction rate, I believe. Yep, all active allies. So that's decent, I guess, for an LB2. It's not like super special or anything, but it's good. Here we go, damage increase rate down. Another debuff for Mitsuki's 4th skill. And obviously we don't have the limit break here right now, so we can't show the buffs for the active cell. Let's see if we can get a stun. I mean, he's going to attack D units, so this should be really good damage-wise. Ooh. Alright, critical rate down, damage increase rate down. And sadly, he did not do any stuns. And he didn't attack a D unit. So kind of unlucky. I want to see if I can catch that number. $61K, that doesn't sound right. Strange. Very weird, very weird. So yeah, I'm not sure what that was, but it was very strange. I can say that much. Maybe it was actually 610K. That sounds more about right. Because it should be more than the other one. See if we can skip ahead. Maybe catch another. Oh, looks like we're actually just going to end the battle very soon. So we might not see Mitsuki again. Okay, never mind. He should be able to jutsu one last time. 4th skill triggers. Reduces enemy's damage increase rate. Then he gets extra attack plus a multiplier from the tribe special. Or the co-op attack. 209K? 219K? Critical? Okay, 324K critical. That's pretty solid against a tank at this level. I'm not sure about that Kabuto attack. Something really weird happened there. So I'm not going to judge that. And yeah, looks really cool here. That's what I have to show about Mitsuki. I think he actually has good potential. There are obviously some things wrong with the unit that should have been designed a little bit differently. But I don't think he's a bad unit by any means. I think for like PvP modes, he still brings value just because of how he can reduce the effectiveness of enemy attacks, sometimes very heavily. Like it was like 40% critical rate decrease or something. And nowadays there are a lot of AoE nukers, so if he reduces the effectiveness of their attacks, he can technically save up to 3 teammates just because AoEs hit 3 people at once. Also, a lot of the A nukers have stats, a lot of the A nukers have skills that boost their critical rate stats and other critical stats. So Mitsuki really reduces those, so that makes him good in PvP also. So I'd say he can be in the SS tier. Definitely not at the top of SS, maybe middle or low SS for PvP. PvE, he can still be useful. It depends on who you're going against, but sometimes you do need to nuke some tanks. He can help with that. and he also helps protect your units at the same time. So I wouldn't say Mitsuki is a bad unit at all. Definitely better than his father's unit. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video.